This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis.
Barrett from shake and bake, hits a three. That's alive in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the land, backs and home. Gets it back, keeps it out Barrett. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from down. He's got a quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Flip of the buzzer. Oh, it's gone! Jalen Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Into Ewing. That'll make the guard more. Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit. Knox with the finish. And the foul. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Excellent ball move. Houston ducks under. Got it! With 8 left.
What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4. Episode 118 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Hope everybody's having a good night. I hope we're having a good morning, actually, as you're listening to this. It's May 12th on a Tuesday. I hope everybody's doing well. It's, same old shit. Really don't have to waste too much time talking about, all that's going on, because there hasn't been anything going on. The NBA is still at a standstill. The MLB still hasn't come to a final decision, although that's expected to be soon. And, other sports are, pretty much in the same boat. So hope everybody's fine. Stay healthy. All that shit that really doesn't need to be said anymore. We pretty much understand what's going on. So I don't want to waste too much time. I want to get through this episode tonight, 118. And then that'll be that, and we'll continue this little this little run through we're doing here, going over a bunch of the prospects on this draft board. So we're starting with the later, late first, second round picks, and then we'll eventually head our way down and review the lottery guys. So we're still on the beginning stages of this, though. We've got plenty of more guys to review. I'd like to think, in this these sleeper guys, the late first, second round guys. So tonight, this time around, we're doing Jalen Smith, who is an intriguing prospect to some. I actually didn't hear of this kid until quarantine, when I was, looking up a bunch of film and reading up on scouting reports. That's kind of really, where I found this kid. And I've been watching a ton of film on him since. And, tonight's the episode where we're going to dive into him and break him down a little bit. So Jalen Smith, a 6'10" forward, 225 pounds, just turned 20 years old, out of Maryland, two-time Gatorade Player of the Year, made McDonald's All-American team. So he's had some, standout performances down with the Terps. So that's who we're going to touch on tonight, and we're gonna get right into it, guys. We're just gonna take a quick little break first, but we're gonna get right into it right after this break. All right. Hey fellas, really quick, I just want to remind you, in order to subscribe to BD4, to subscribe to my blog, and to follow me on social media, all you have to do is go to my website. That's it. Just go to nysportstalkrc.com/connect. Once again, that is nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once there, guys, that will display all of my information. Where to subscribe to the podcast, how to subscribe to my blog, and where to follow me on social media. Guys, thank you so much, and let's get back to the show.
Hey,
for this kid. Pretty much straightforward in terms of, um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but no. Jalen Smith, 6'10", 7-foot wingspan, 225 power forward. Had a great sophomore season. He improved from freshman year to sophomore year. In his sophomore season at Maryland, he averaged 16 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist. Across 54% from the field, 37% from three, and 75% from the free throw stripe. So very efficient numbers. And defensively, he averaged 2.4 blocks to go with 0.7 steals. So a good, I consider him an athletic floor spacing rim protector, right? A modern day big, a small ball center. Somebody who I think can have an impact on an NBA team as a rotation regular, maybe an occasional spot starter, right? He'll find his niche somewhere, between, high end rotation guy to a low end starter. He'll fit the Knicks much better than somebody like Randall or Portis will. I'll tell you that. He'll bring shooting from that position, which they don't have. He'll bring some spacing because of that shooting. He'll bring defense at that 4 spot, which the Knicks don't have there. You don't get that from Randall, and you don't get that from Portis. You don't get the athleticism from that spot really either. You don't have those agile, acrobatic, quick, finesse bigs that you get with Jalen Smith. You don't have that in Randall. You ain't getting that shit in Portis or Gibson for that matter either. And this guy, unlike really those two, he's got a high motor, so he'll play both ends of the floor with 110% intensity. So that's what you got to love first and foremost from this kid. He's got a high motor, and we're going to talk about that as a strength to his game later on. But that's pretty much what I think about his potential outlook in the NBA. I think in terms of the draft, he's somebody who I expect to go late first. So probably not late first, but I don't think he's going to be that late in the first. I'm thinking he's going to be somewhere in the early 20s. So probably not going to land 27th, which is where the Knicks are, projected to draft with that second first round pick. So they would likely have to trade up, because I don't think he's going to be there. But, we're still going to go over this kid just for the hell of it, just to do our due diligence here, right? So yeah, number one thing, high motor. He uses that on both ends, defensively and then offensively as well, of course. He's a good scorer. In particular, it's his shooting. He could potentially be a good stretch 4, small ball stretch 5 here and there. He can shoot the ball in a variety of ways off the catch to keep the defense guessing. So he's a good catch and shoot guy, good spot up shooter as a big, but it's just not stand still spot up every time. He can shoot and pick and pop, and he's a good, off ball, shooting on the run type of player, a good movement shooter for a big. Dribble handoffs, screens, pin downs, curls. He can shoot off a variety of actions in a ton of ways. And even if the efficiency numbers when it comes to Jalen Smith's shooting, even if they don't impress you too much, I still think there's room to believe there's an upside here for him as a stretch. There's good form. He's got very good mechanics on his jump shot. I like it. It's a quick release. It looks pretty fundamental, at least for a big. So I think there's reason to believe he could at least become, a decent shooter for a big man. So yeah, that's the number one thing you notice about his offense is his ability to space the floor and to stretch it, to shoot it from downtown. So good shooter, but and also, very good in transition. He's great at running the floor, right? Actually, this past season, he was 99th percentile. He was ranked in the 99th percentile when it came to points per possession in transition. He hits a lot of threes in transition as a trailer. I just had a voice crack. He's hit a lot of his 3-point shots though come as a trailer in transition. Spots up, pulls up in transition as a guy who's following up the ball handler. But he's also good in the half court. 93rd percentile in terms of his points per possession in the half court. So he's a guy who can slow it down or play at the pace, that the NBA is most known for at that full court game. He's got a good face-up game. He also generates a ton of his offense from the free throw line. So a fair amount of his attempts are going to come from the line. I know in college, when you stretch it out to his per 40 minute statistics, he got to the line 6 free throw attempts per 40. So That's a very solid number. I know he's crafty down there. He likes to use that chop fake to draw fouls and get to the line. So he's a finesse big, a fluid athlete, not top tier like Mitchell Robinson or something like that, but a solid athlete. Still, has that smooth leap. Pretty quick. Lots of speed, lots of burst. Can be heavy-footed at times, but I like to think that for the most part, Jalen Smith is somebody who's going to bring the Knicks some athleticism at that 4 spot. And shit, Lord knows we need that. And then some other things about his offensive game. A lot of his rebounding statistics come from those putbacks. He's very good at putting the ball back off the offensive glass. 94th percentile this past season when it came to offensive putbacks. Again, he utilizes that ball fake effectively to score and kind of get his defenders off balance. And he's got solid handles for a big. Somebody who's pretty versatile when it comes to righty-lefty. Something's wrong with my throat tonight, but solid handles. Jesus fuck. He's a righty, but he's pretty good with his left hand when it comes to dribbling and even scoring. I wouldn't consider him ambidextrous, but I wouldn't consider his left a weakness either. He's somebody who has the ability to use both hands when it comes to handling the ball and, dribbling and even scoring a little bit. Good in pick and roll, I think there's upside. He's got some inconsistencies when he's running the P&R, but there is an upside to believe he'll be a good screener and that he'll be a good roller in pick and roll someday. Why did this video just automatically stop? I don't know. If you're watching the video format of the podcast, guys, we're having some technical issues, but I'm trying to fix it right here. Hold on one sec. I apologize if you're watching the video cast up on YouTube. The video doesn't seem to be working right now, but we're going to work on getting this fixed, see what we can do. Hold up. All right. We should be good. All right. Sorry about that. We're good now. Okay. Oh, no, we're not. What the fuck? All right. Whatever. We're going to try to figure this out, but I don't know why the video keeps freezing. But, we'll go on. We'll fix it. It's really going to frustrate me, though. All right. I think we're finally good. Sorry about that. I really had to pause the podcast for about 10 minutes, real time, to figure that out. But we're back. I think we were talking about his Jalen Smith's ability to run pick and roll. I think there's upside there as a screener and as a roller. Eventually, I think he could be somebody who is a very good lob specialist, to throw down the lob. But those are pretty much his offensive, strengths. Again, to go over them really quick, he's a good shooter. That's pretty much what he's going to bring you offensively as a primary. He's going to stretch the floor, bring you some offense at the three-point line, but also a little bit of facing up too. And then, again, an upside to be a very strong lob threat. Defensively, now he's known for his rim protecting. This is somebody who, with his length, his 7-foot wingspan, he's going to be somebody who's going to block a lot of shots, and he has already in college. 2.4 blocks per 40 over 2 seasons in Maryland, and this past season averaged 3 blocks per 40 minutes. So, he blocks with either hand. He can alter shots. Very, very versatile when it comes to when it comes to protecting the rim. He's got soft hands around that rim, so he'll be able to get rebounds pretty effectively defensively as well. Just good overall instincts on the interior. Somebody who knows what he's doing. Good side-to-side lateral movement defensively as well. So if he has to step up on the perimeter, he can slide left to right, right to left pretty smoothly as well. And then, I think, which is really one of the really good things about his defensive game, is that he's very disciplined. He's somebody who's improved his discipline tremendously from his freshman to sophomore season. And even overall, in Maryland, he averaged 3 personal fouls per 40 minutes in college. So pretty disciplined as a defender, very impeccable timing, reading when the ball is going to bounce off the glass and knowing when to go up and block that shot. That's probably his best, attribute defensively, is that timing and that discipline. And last but not least, we talked about this guy's got a high motor. He fucking hustles. He attacks the offensive glass, especially, very fiercely. He is somebody who's not going to get out hustled. He wants to beat you, and he's going to let you know that. So those are some things I really like about Jalen Smith's game. Again, I really think he could fit into the Knicks system if he, if they play him, you know, to stretch out the floor a little bit more off the bench. He would bring so much better. Again, some very good spacing and such better just offensive fluidity if he was to be thrown out there, as more often as opposed to somebody like fucking Portis and another stopgap like Gibson and etc. I think somebody like Jalen Smith, just an absolutely, he would make a great draft pick. Somebody who I would not hate taking. Again, that would be if he fell to the Knicks, but I don't think he's going to fall that far. This would be something the Knicks would have to trade up for. But it's all depending on what they do with their picks. Because remember, we've last couple of nights we've heard that they actually wanted to trade up with their first pick, right, and go after LaMelo Ball if they don't land him in the lottery. So we'll see what happens with that. But those are Jalen Smith's strengths. Now, some of his flaws, of course, it's the lack of strength, right? He a very thin frame. That's something that's going to hurt him defensively, offensively, down the post. He's not a great post player. Gets moved out of post position a lot because of his, weaker upper and lower body. Struggles as a finisher sometimes when he's not, a lot of times when he finishes successfully, it's because of that ball fake we talked about. But, you take that ball fake away, sometimes he has issues finishing in traffic because of his lack of size, mass. So that's an issue there. Defensive footwork on closeouts especially is very poor. A lot of times he'll try to strictly defend the shot often on his closeouts and leaving him very vulnerable to the dribble drive, right? If he's strictly just trying to defend the shot, he can get just blown by if he's not paying attention to the multiple directions the ball handler can go in. His pick and roll defense right now at least is pretty poor. A lot of times he'll leave space in the mid-range area, a lot of space, sometimes too much space when he's guarding pick and roll. Even when the point of attack defender is not back in the play, he'll leave too much space. He's going to have to be somebody who plays the drop coverage a lot. That's where he succeeds in pick and roll, is that drop coverage. So it's going to be difficult to see how the Knicks balance that out. Of course, if they were to draft somebody like Smith, because I know they use Mitchell Robinson and drop a lot. They drop him a ton in pick and roll. And so it's going to be interesting. Again, new coach, new system, that could change things. So we'll see what happens in that area. And then last couple of things here as weaknesses. He's not a great passer, not a playmaker. My throat, man, I'm telling you. Jalen Smith's not a good passer. Poor decision making. Will force a lot of shots because he doesn't want to pass it at times, and vice versa. Not great at reading the defenses when he's passing. Not a great decision maker. Not a great outlet passer. Overall, just the feel isn't there as a passer. Is in that he makes a lot of inaccurate passes, and I think there's just a low ceiling there as a playmaker. Wow. And last but not least, he's likely to be a project, guys. Listen, again, I mentioned he just turned 20 in March. I think. So he's going to be a project, I think. He's not going to be somebody who succeeds, tremendously right away. There's plenty of room for improvement in this kid's game, in several areas. So he's going to be somebody who takes time. He's not going to be someone who comes in first season, second season, effective like Robinson was and is. And, I think he's going to take a little bit of time. So that sucks because the Knicks have a lot of guys like that. They've got Knox, they've got Frank, they've got fucking DSJ at the moment. They've got RJ Barrett. I would consider him a project. They've got quite a amount of projects on this team, and you can even throw Mitch in there. But I think, I'm not calling Jalen Smith Mitchell Robinson. I think he's going to be somebody who's going to have to work a little bit harder. So, again, this is somebody who I think could be very effective. Somebody who I think has the ability to do some pretty impressive shit here with the Knicks. So I've heard some comparisons now about this kid's game. People have called him a Miles Turner type of player. I see that. I definitely see that. I like the comparison. Miles Turner is somebody, I think, per 36 minutes over the course of his career, averages 16 points, 9 rebounds, and I want to say 3 blocks. So I don't think those numbers are too far out of the, are too unrealistic to expect from someone like Jalen Smith. I think maybe 10 to 12 points off the bench, 9 rebounds, give or take, and 2 or 3 blocks a night. Eventually down the line, if he does end up peaking, I think that's pretty realistic to think about. Jalen Smith, again, 6'10", 225 power forward, potential stretch big. I think he's going to be a good rim protector and just overall a solid player that the Knicks should keep an eye on. So that's pretty much my thoughts on Smith, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really don't have anything else to talk about in this episode of BD4. So thanks for coming by. I appreciate everybody who stopped by. If you haven't followed, be sure to do so. You know where to go. nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, Rob Carbone, episode 118 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees analysis. I'll see you next time. Ciao.